Customer experience. When it comes to customers wanting to buy in an omnichannel world, you have many divisions in your company that make that difficult, but you know what? Customer doesn't care. So let's talk about a seamless customer experience. Hi, I'm Daniel Burstein, Director of Editorial Content at Marketing Sherpa. We're here at the Marketing Sherpa Media Center at IRCE, and I'm joined now by Ellen Shannon, Chief Content Director and Publisher of Multi-Channel Merchant. So you are a print magazine that covers merchandisers, you were saying?
Yes, so we are a print magazine, we're a website, we have a global e-commerce newsletter, we have an operations newsletter, we have our multi-channel merchant Tuesday and Thursday e-newsletters, and we do research. We pretty much do everything you could possibly imagine that covers e-commerce companies, catalog companies, retail companies, even B2B companies that sell merchandise. That's our sweet spot.
Okay, great. So we were talking about the desire for a seamless customer experience. Let me give you an example of my own journey, and let's talk about how a customer can improve. So, not going to mention the name, but I was searching for an exercise bike, right? So I reached out to a few major brands, stores in my area that supposedly carried that exercise bike on their e-commerce store, and I asked, hey, do you carry it in the physical store? Because I want to actually try it out. I'd pay extra in the physical store to try it out. And what one of them emailed back to me was, we don't know, it's a different division.
That's unfortunately typical. It's getting better.
Yeah, well, and so what we talked about is, so that brand had spent all this money marketing in TV ads and print ads and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, operations is what killed the marketing. So are you seeing that across many different merchants?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the good news is that many merchants are getting the message that integrating store and e-commerce or catalog or TV, that it has to be integrated, and that customers need to be able to see the merchandise or feel the merchandise or not, depending on what they really want to do and what they want the customer experience to be. So as long as retailers continue to see this, they are starting to worry about integrating operations. The focus now is bringing marketing together to then make the logistics work behind the scenes.
Yeah, so let's talk about how people in the marketing department can do that. So, in marketing, our challenge is we're building that value proposition for the product. We're making this promise to the consumer, but again, operations tends to be out of our control. So what advice would you give to the marketer to make sure that brand promise is delivered throughout the experience of the customer, even post-purchase?
Right. Well, I think what most companies are seeing, you hear the word omnichannel thrown around an awful lot at this conference and just in the media, because I think a lot of companies are restructuring now to bring their marketers together, whether it's an e-commerce marketer or the retail store marketing folks. They have to collaborate, and I think top management in some companies is even changing the structure so that there can be integrated marketing plans, campaigns, and learning more. A lot of customers or merchants are doing customer innovation labs, looking at how customers actually shop. There's been a lot of research done on this fact, is what do customers actually want, how do they use different devices, and what should the experience in the retail store be. But it's going to be a collaboration between marketing people across all channels to figure out how to deliver what their customer wants. And I think your example was a good one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, let's give some positive examples now for the audience.
Okay,
so
good.
Let's start with a traditional retailer. Can you think of a traditional retailer that's got this kind of seamless customer experience down?
Sure. I think when people say omnichannel, most people think of Macy's or Best Buy. They've really worked very, very hard at creating omnichannel, and it is not easy to do. I think figuring out how to do the term ship from store or ship to store, basically delivering wherever the customer wants their merchandise to go, that is not an easy logistic, but Macy's and Best Buy have actually figured out how to do this pretty well.
And there's also another big win there, I would think, in terms of competition. Right? So Amazon, they're able to sell at the lowest rate, low margins. But even with all their fulfillment centers, they can't fulfill as well as a local store. Right? I mean, they're going to have the drone soon, we'll see, but
right.
They can't fulfill as well as those local brick and mortar stores, right? Not as quickly.
Right, and most people think that there's going to be a retail war eventually, between Amazon and Walmart once Walmart figures out how to do a better job at ship to and from store.
Yeah, and I mean, Walmart's pretty good at logistics, so I think they're going to figure that out.
Right.
So let's talk about now a new retailer, an e-commerce company that's doing it well. So in the latest issue of Multi-Channel Merchant, we saw Bonobos. They're your customer experience leader. Can you tell us why?
Sure. We recently had our Customer Experience Awards at our Operations Summit conference that we do about the kind of the back end of the business. And Bonobos actually won in two of the 6 categories. And I think they excel at every point of customer experience. Now the interesting thing was they've never had a retail store before. They have opened a couple of retail outlets, but you can try on the clothes, you can figure out, kind of in your bike scenario, you might want to order online, but you would like to go touch and feel, and you can do that now with Bonobos for the first time. You can't actually take the physical product from the store, but they will ship it, and they'll ship it very, very quickly to you. In fact, my husband and son just had this experience in one of their first stores out in California.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about that is it's almost like they're encouraging showrooming, right? Like bricks and mortar retailers had been terrified of showrooming.
Right.
If you come in here, you're going to buy. Bonobos wants people to showroom.
That's correct. That's correct.
And I would imagine that it's cheaper too. It's less expensive to not have to have all kind of the back end in the store and fulfill in the store.
Yeah, shipping in a direct to customer way is not an inexpensive thing to do. I think a lot of people think if you don't have a retail store, it's great to have an e-commerce business because you don't have the overhead of the retail store. But the fact is picking and packing single orders and packaging all of this and dealing with returns, it is not an inexpensive operation at all. So there's pluses and minuses probably to both sets of operations and logistics, whether it's in the retail store or doing DTC. But Bonobos, it's interesting, is I think they are opening these retail outlets because it's what their customers want. And I think that's what we're really seeing. This is a painful process for merchants. They're doing this because they realize this is what their customers want, whether they're opening retail outlets and they were e-commerce companies, or if they're a retail company that has an e-commerce arm, they're really figuring out how to collaborate and bring them together. It's not an easy process, but at the end of the day, they're going to have customer loyalty, the customer experience is good, and they're going to sell more.
Yeah, and it's a great way to add to the marketing. So we think of marketing again as the brand, as a print ad, as an email perhaps, but what Bonobos is doing with the store, and in addition, maybe you can talk about their customer service. I mean, again, it's outside the marketing department, but that helps with that brand promise, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's funny, even the little things that contribute to customer experience. When you get a box from Bonobos, for example, nobody really, sometimes I think people don't think about how important packaging is. It's a beautiful package. It extends the great customer experience that hopefully you've had online. From a marketing perspective, even though people don't really think of packaging as a marketing tool, really is a marketing tool, and it does well for them. And whether you call them or you email them, you get quick response. They are very good about communicating with you, letting you know when your package is coming, when to expect it, how it's coming. They do a really great job.
So that's a lesson for me. If you're in marketing, you got to think about more than just the marketing department. And in marketing, we try to say, think outside the box. So let's say, think about the box.
That's a good way to say it, yes.
There we go. Well, thank you very much, Ellen. And thank you for watching. And you can see much more tips and tactics, marketing case studies, and marketing industry data at marketingsherpa.com.